crazy. World's getting crazy out there. Time to tell the truth. Time for King B.A.V to kick some facts.
Yo, this is King B.A.V. Welcome to my third podcast episode. Why am I doing this podcast episode today, you may ask? Because, very specific reason, brand new single, the third single off the upcoming album. And I know I keep saying upcoming album. At some point, I'll get you a title on that album. But the third single from a brand new album coming out shortly, it drops tomorrow. Tomorrow. That single is called You Ain't All That. So I figured that instead of doing a single release party, you know, I used to do these parties where, oh, listen to the brand new single, check this out. What I thought I would do is I would actually do a podcast and talk about the single and talk about what's been going on so you guys can kind of get inside what it is to record, to write, and just be on this part of the, side of the music for a while and not just listening to it. So we're going to get a little creative here on this podcast, basically. Yo, I think it's pretty dope. I think you'll enjoy that. So, without any further ado, let's talk about what's going on. What's been going on in the world of King B.A.V madness for this last couple months. So, in order to do that, let's do it chronologically. What does that mean? That means let's talk about what happened back end of last year, starting off all the way through today. So, as I told everybody, was getting ready to get a new album together, have been writing, have been recording, getting things ready to go, and had a, when you write an album, you have to decide what songs you want to release for singles, what song you want to release first as your brand new single and your first single off a new album. And so it's a pretty interesting process. The process began late in 2016 and had most of the tracks recorded at that point, and a bunch of the tracks were mixed. And at that point, I decided it was time to release and drop the first single. That single, Lunatic Fringe, dropped. Such great response that it had been a minute since I had put out recent music. And the response was, I must say, more than I expected. Downloads and streams were huge, and that just blew me away. So I thank all of you who are listening and downloaded and streamed that song. And if you haven't, you still can. Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon, Spotify, whatever. Go check it all out. Lunatic Fringe. And so that was out for a while, probably about a month and a half or so, and decided at that point, you know what, response has been incredible. It's time to drop a new single. Problem was, at that point, the album was pretty much recorded and finished and completed and ready and in the stage of having final mixing on it. And at that point, there was a decision that, it'd be really cool to have one duet on this album. Just share the spotlight and have a feature on here. So got together with Bviz, as you kind of remember, and we sat down and co-wrote the lyrics and the music to the track Fake News. And it's still very appropriate. And I cannot even imagine to tell you the great response that we received on that track, both lyrically and the production and recording of that track. People have just said what a great track that is. And the coolest thing was I recorded the video and produced a video for it, and it was a lyric video. And what I think was really cool about that is not only are you listening to it and you're trying to hear the production in the track and the music and the style, but now you can actually see the lyrics that are being said, and you can rap along with it. And I think that's really cool. I know when albums used to drop, and my favorite artists would put their lyrics in their CDs or out on the net so that you can actually check it out. That was such a great experience because I always would rap with my favorite artists. So it was really cool. We did the lyric video for Fake News and put it out there and said, this is good. This is awesome. The response is amazing. We're going to put this on the new album. So the new album that started off having a completed set of 12 tracks ended up having 13 tracks. So that delayed the album a little bit, but that was really cool because we dropped a new track. And then that brings us to basically where we are this week as we get ready for the new track to drop tomorrow. So let's give you a little history on that. So the album's ready to go other than the final mixing. So the album's ready. We got 13 tracks, and I like how it sounds. And I've been in the studio working on the mixing of it here and there. And like I said, it was probably about a month or so away from this point from being finally completed, unless there's more changes that come. Because what happened was I wrote a new song. And I wrote a new song and decided, you know what? Not only am I going to drop this as a new single, I'm actually going to put this song on the album as well. So what happens, that delays the release of the album because as you have to write the song, you have to record the song, you have to mix and master the song, and then you have to get prepared for the release of the song, which is the process I've been in. So this week, basically, got all that stuff together, and let me go over the process because people ask sometimes, like, what's the influence for me when I'm writing a song or an album? And it could be anything. It could be from anything that's going on in the world of music. It could be anything in the world of politics. It could just be things I see. And sometimes you just got to diss people because they don't know how to treat you. And that's what happened this time with this track. And got to tell you, the new album, and we'll go into this when I release it, because I'm sure I'll do a podcast prior to that as well and give you the insight in probably every track. But it's a fun album. It's been a great album to record. And I tried to go a little less explicit on the album. And while hitting topics hard, I realized you don't have to swear in every song. You need to get the point across. And that's what the purpose of this album was. However, there are times where you just have to get the point across because someone just pisses you off enough that it makes you sit down and say, you know what, the way that that person treated me, ridiculous, not putting up with that crap, and it's time to write about it. And that's what happened with the new track, You Ain't All That. And you'll hear it, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I'm going to be real, and I'm going to be as real as I can be. I'm not going to get into specifics about who the track's about, what the situation was. I'm going to leave it as such as this person started pissing me off and just made comments that were absolutely untrue and inappropriate. And at that point, I said, it's time to sit down and it's time to write a track. And to go into further detail on it, it felt damn good to sit down and write some of these lyrics. Now, this song is extremely parental advisory, very much so, explicit lyrics, so to speak. When I was done with the mixing of this track, which you again will hear when it's released tomorrow, but when I was done with the mixing of this track, someone in the studio turned to me and said, "You just earned your parental advisory sticker." So that's to tell you how this just, it had to be done. You have to sometimes just write how you feel and get it all out there. And yes, there are quite a few F-bombs dropped on this track. But you know what? I think y'all are going to like it. I think that it's something that needed to be said, needed to be heard, and certainly in my situation really helped me feel better about what was going on and basically not letting anybody piss me off to that extent where, you know what? You're going to piss me off. I think I'm going to have to write about it. And that's what I did. And so you will hear about that. But I kind of want to give you the behind the scenes, a little bit of how it was written, why it was written. And as I stated earlier when we talked about the new singles off the album, and this is definitely a different single than the first two. As I stated, Lunatic Fringe was about what's going on in the world at that time. Fake news is pretty self-explanatory about sometimes what you hear is not all reality. This song is just an absolute hit where it hits hard, diss track, just you piss me off, and now I'm going to tell you about a track. And I think because of that difference to it, you are going to like it. And here's a really cool thing about it. By having different types of music on an album, as I stated, at this moment anyway, it could subject to change, but at this moment there's 14 tracks that are on the new album, which I will eventually get mixed and released. but the tracks all sound different. It's not going to bore you, that's for sure. Deep subject matter, lots of lyrics, various production on each song, and you're not going to be bored. It's definitely one of those albums where you're going to listen to it over and over and over because each song is very different. And this is a hard-hitting diss track that, like I said, had to be done. So there you go. There's a little insights into that. Remember, the track is called You Ain't All That. It's going to drop tomorrow. What is tomorrow? For those who are listening after today, obviously, this track is dropping or will have already dropped on Friday, April 27th, 2017. So if you listen to this after the fact, maybe a week or so later, we're talking the pre-release of You Ain't All That and the pre-dropping of the track. The really cool thing, and let me finish this up telling you how cool this is. So someone pissed me off. I was pissed. I sat down. I wrote these lyrics. I got these lyrics written in less than an hour. But then what happens? You can't just put out a song with lyrics. So I sat down and came up with the music and the production of the music on this. So in order to do that, I came up with the beat, put the drums together, came up with a nice bass line that I thought went really well, came up with a few extra add-ons to it and a couple of effects, and boom. Lyrics and music on this track were written and ready to rock in a 3-hour period. And quite honestly, it's one of the quickest songs I have ever written, both lyrically and musically. The lyrics just flowed, so that was great, and the music was just easy. I just sat and thought what sounds good together, put it together, boom. So about 3 hours to write it. Went in the studio the same day, recorded it, got it recorded within a couple hours, then had to mix it, got it mixed another hours, about 2 hours to mix it. And so we're talking about one day of writing the lyrics, writing the music, recording the song, mixing the song, and then sent it off for mastering. And the whole process was really, really simple. And that's basically the creation of You Ain't All That, the brand new King B.A.V track that drops tomorrow. So you got to hear it. Like I said, parental advisory. Got the sticker right there on it. You know, enjoy the F-bombs, enjoy the song, and understand what we're talking about because it's pretty dope. Anyway, there's that. The final part of, and I'll talk a lot more about this stuff, again, before releasing the new album, but the really cool thing about this was I was all hands-on, and when I do my music, I generally do all of it. I produce it, I write it, I mix it with some help, and generally work on the album covers and the concepts and all that stuff and get it together. And this was a song where I pretty much, I wrote it, recorded it, co-mixed it, and created the album cover for it, the single cover for it. And behind the scenes work has been being done and getting done because you still got to get it all out there. You got to get it on distribution. It's being distributed. That's all good. Ad Brand Records distributing the song as they have done with all my other tracks. And getting it out there, it should be ready to go by midnight tonight. Oh, yeah. Going to be on iTunes and Apple Music, Google Plus, Spotify, the usual places for it. And again, like I said, I am doing this podcast because I want my fans to be as involved as they possibly can be in the entire recording process. And like I said, it was a last-minute decision to release this single off the album, and it's an addition to the album. So you'll all be excited to hear 14 new tracks, King B.A.V, coming out, I would imagine, within the next month or two. So there'll be more updates. You know how to find me, obviously. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. And, of course, you can find me on Snapchat. And, of course, the website, www.kingbav.com. And I'm just going to give you a couple of those quick things because I mentioned them. I might as well drop them for you since we're sitting here. So, Twitter at King B.A.V. That's pretty simple, huh? I think so. And if you are on Instagram, it's also what I call pretty simple. King B.A.V underscore the King, D-A King, K-I-N-G. So really easy to find me that way, I do believe. And also, I guess I should give you the Facebook. Facebook simple. It's King B.A.V, the King, D-A-K-I-N-G. And you can always find the follow-ups and what's going on in the world of King B.A.V with new music, new videos, obviously new tracks, behind the scenes, everything else. You can find all that out by those sources. So check it out. Social media, love it because I love interacting with the fans. As always, if you guys have any questions, just drop me a line. Let me know if you have any questions on any of the aforementioned social media outlets, and I will respond. I love interacting with the fans. And have done a couple contests so far where I've been giving out some special edition album inserts. So we may do a couple more of those contests with the release of this track, and certainly with the release of the new album coming out when it does come out, assuming I don't write more music and add it to the album. You never know, right? That's the great thing about creativity. Anyway, that's pretty much it in the world of King B.A.V now. I actually don't have much more time because I actually have to get the rest of everything for distribution finalized. A couple more quick shout outs on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And be prepared, as I stated in a tweet I sent out yesterday, and I believe also on my Instagram. New single dropping Friday. Be warned. Yes, you should be warned. This thing is boom, hit you in your face, because that's what Pissed Off does. So check it out. You Ain't All That. Dropping this week, tomorrow. Brand new single, King B.A.V. You can still download and stream Lunatic Fringe, which is the first single. You can download and stream Fake News featuring Bviz. And now the brand new single, you will be able to download and stream beginning at midnight tonight / tomorrow morning. New Music Friday, as they say, hashtag. You Ain't All That, the brand new single by King B.A.V. Check it out, be alert, and follow me for more updates. That's it. I appreciate everyone who listens to my podcast. And like I said, just wanted to get this out there for all you to enjoy. Any questions? Let me know. Outside of that, thanks a lot. This has been dope. Peace out to everyone. Thanks for all your continued support. And I hope you enjoy You Ain't All That. And also, let me know what you think of it. Drop me a line. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Let me know what you think. Yo, take care. Peace out.
We're on the fringe of a lunatic fringe. We're on the fringe of a lunatic fringe. We're on the fringe of a lunatic fringe.